Hello. I got the best fucking hoodie ever. Hello! Look how fucking great this hoodie is. Yeah! Is this not the best hoodie ever? Hello. What I like about it is if you pull this all the way up and then this, you can take a nap. Anyway, howdy. It's the me. How is whoever's watching this? I hope you're doing well. My hair is a mess and it's dirty, but we will deal with that later. Actually, I'm gonna get a second drink so I don't have to get up. Anyway, literally the reason I called it that was just because I wanted to show off my new hoodie. Because I mean, it's a badass hoodie, you know. But hello today. Today should be interesting because it's 151, which is Blackbird's one of Blackbird's favorites. So hopefully Blackbird will be here today. If not, hello Blackbird. You are watching this in the future. Is it better than we said? Okay. So I believe the last episode was recorded by Martin Blackwood, which is great because I miss my boy, but also he's still kind of in my bad books for being mean to Daisy. Yeah. Oh, I should say, I actually joined a society and I made a friend that, well, I hope we're friends. I made a friend there called Gemma. And she also likes this. And I accidentally said, yeah, I've been streaming me watching it. So I'm begging to a god that I don't believe in that that she doesn't find this, because I don't think I could deal with that level of embarrassment. This looks ridiculous on me, but that's just because it's hugely oversized and it's very comfy, but it's also very, very warm and I'm not particularly cold right now. So we gotta take this off. Oh, sweet Jesus. It's one of those weathers today where it's not cold and it's not warm and I'm just annoyed. But at least I hoovered, so I've got that going for me. Anyway, we're doing my usual cross stitch. Turn on that so there's a little bit of light. But yeah, so I joined a society. There's going to be a Halloween party. I'm going as Mothman. And I've made the little things for it. Once the costume is finished, I will show you. Because I think most of you would get a kick out of it. I might have chosen a really bad time to stream because I think everyone who normally watches me is probably busy, either like having, I thought I had a cut, either having like food or sleeping. So, yeah, this is how it's going. This is all done. This blue. I'm currently filling in this pink because the color of the pink is actually this blue color. So, but because of the pink underneath, it ends up looking kind of purple. Do you see the slight variations? You've got this blue, you've got this blue, and then you've got this blue, but it looks kind of purple. Anyway, I love it. She's beautiful. She's coming along like a dream. I'm not. Oh shit! Wait. Hang on. Live chat. Let's go with live chat. There we go. Hopefully they haven't been talking and me just not seeing it because it's not top chat, which I think is so fucking dumb. I mean, why does it not just show up as live chat instinctively? It's not like I have enough people for it to be spamming. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, I suppose most of the people streaming probably have hundreds and thousands of fans. I am so glad I'm not one of them. I can deal with that. Okay, so...
And what, you think Melanie's worth saving?
Oh, sorry, yeah, no, I listened to this. Why is it that far back? I definitely listened to the end. I definitely listened to the end, right?
Worth. But yeah, she's actually trying to get well, so I'm going to help her. This place isn't a sickness. No, I think it's worse. But we're all...
Oh no, I definitely listened to it.
Hi everyone.
Well, thank you. Didn't even tap it. It tapped for me. Well, thanks, I guess. Anyway, time for the next. I'm scared. I don't know where we're at. You know what I mean? Like, normally I can kind of tell when we're nearing the end of a season. I don't know if we're near the end of season 4. I don't feel like we are. You know what I mean? It just... I don't know.
Rusty Quill presents the Magnus Archives. Episode 150. Cul-de-sac.
Oh, everyone's biggest fear, a brown and beige cul-de-sac. I mean, we all know it. It's a terrifying idea. The clouds are raining, cacao and cocaine. That's a great song, by the way.
Statement of Herman Gogoli regarding his periods trapped alone in a suburban area of Cheadle.
Okay.
Original statement written 9th November 2014. Audio recording by Jonathan Sims, the archivist. Statement begins. Life is hard. I don't want to bum you out or anything, but yeah, you're all alone, trying to connect with people, trying to find your place in the world, but in the end, the only person you really know is yourself. Even then, not all that well. There's plenty of things I've done I couldn't explain to you. I mean, I'm constantly looking back at my past self and thinking, what an idiot. How the hell could he have done such an obviously stupid thing? How was I surprised it went so badly? What a relief. I'm now so much older and wiser.
That is the biggest fucking mood. Me looking back at my entire adolescence, like, Jesus Christ, bros. Could you have fucked that up more?
Except that last part never really turns out to be true, does it? The line of when you were your younger self seems to keep moving forward with you until each more mature and reasonable version of you eventually falls foul of it and becomes a young idiot. And when you add in another person, you reach a whole other level. You can love them, marry them, dedicate your life to them. But that's not the same as actually understanding them. I was with Alberto for 15 years, and I tell you what, I could always anticipate. He always used to get annoyed at how predictable I found his mood sometimes. But damn if I ever really knew why. Of course, it doesn't help that when you're that close to someone, everything starts to reflect on each other. One bad mood feeds into another, and stress just bounces back and forth between you.
Damn.
It can get real bad if you're not careful.
Jesus Christ, man.
Weren't careful.
Oh, hi, Blackbird. I literally was talking about you at the very beginning. Like, I hope Blackbird manages to make it. Sorry, was waiting for stream. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hang on. Mum, wait. On laptop, but didn't start. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. I did have it waiting, which may have caused an issue. I've never done that before. You missed my cool hoodie. I'll show it in a second. Apparently, my mum wants my internet account. Anyway, hi Blackbird. It's nice to see you. You didn't miss too much. If anything, I could probably restart the episode if you like. Hang on, let me show you my cool hoodie. This hoodie is ridiculously oversized, and it's so fluffy. It's so warm and cozy. But the best bit about it is it has like an internal like I'll just show you. Hello. Hi. This is the look. Which, can you imagine? It's like windy outside. You just put this shit up right up to your fucking nose. Put this shit down as low as possible. Don't worry about restarting. Can watch the start later. That hoodie. It is so warm. I'm wearing it because I am a little hot. But how nice is it? And even when it's down, it's like, hell yeah. You know, the only issue is it looks ridiculous when I'm sat down because it is very oversized, and so it looks a bit, and also it's still a bit crinkled from packaging, so it looks a bit silly when I wear it sat down currently. So that's why I'm also not wearing it on stream. In addition to the fact that it is sweltering, it is very hot to wear. What is okay? My mum has been dulled. Who cares about how it looks if it's got... That is a very good point. That is a very good point. If I wasn't hot, I would be wearing it. But I am actually hot, so it's a good... everyone wins. Anyway, so yeah, we're on 150. Yeah, maybe not if too hot. I don't know why, because normally I should be cold. It's fucking cold. It's cold, but I'm not cold. I'm sweaty. It's ridiculous. Like, it's just a bit rude, honestly. Like, how dare I be this fucking hot when it's meant to be cold? It's bloody October. Oh, you also missed. I'm going as Mothman for a Halloween party because I joined a society, and I made friends. And the friend I made also listens to the Magnus archives and is currently on the Magnus protocol. Same. And it was very scary making friends because surprisingly, it is easier to speak at a camera and be myself than it is to speak to real people, which is ridiculous because currently I'm literally staring at like a mirror and occasionally getting feedback from faceless people that I've given wacky nicknames to, which don't get me wrong, I love you guys. In a very I don't want you guys to be super attached. I squish you guys. You are my squish. You are my squish. But yeah, it was terrifying. I went to the first one and I cried, so I left. And then I went to the second one and I actually made a friend. And I told them that I streamed this. And then I was like, why did I say that? Now if they find me. So I'm just hoping to a god that I don't necessarily believe in. Actually, you know what? I am praying to the Greek mythology gods. All of them. Just all of them. I know there's a lot, but I'm praying to all of them that she doesn't happen upon this account. Because I really, honest to God, do not think I could handle her being like, oh, you're so in the videos. I'm like, yeah, that's me when I'm unhinged. I'm sorry. I struggle talking to... It really sucks because it's like, I clearly talk a lot because these streams are ridiculously long, even though we only listen to like 2 episodes most of the time. Because I yap. I'm a yapper. I remember there was one when I was doing the spacecraft, and then I just yapped with Justin and Marie for like an hour straight. I did my Tesco shop on stream. I forgot to do it. I clearly am not wanting for things to talk about, and yet for some reason I went to this thing and I couldn't even say words. I was just going And it was so annoying. I was like, oh, please, I need friends. I need friends, but I don't have any. So yeah. I went to the second one, it was much better. And I'm going to a Halloween party for it. I'm going as Mothman. I've already created the goggles. I will once I finish the whole costume, I'll show you. Right now, all I need is a bedsheet to cover me and some proboscis. You know, I was thinking of two crow feathers because I have several crow feathers, but they're not quite the vibe I'm going for. I need like one of the feather dusters. They sometimes have those big gray feathers that look like ostrich feathers. I need two of them, or I need pipe cleaners, which I can then to make said thing. Either way, it's going to be great. I'm so excited to go as Mothman. I'm so glad I thought of it because it's the best costume. I'm going as fucking Mothman. My eyes glow. How fucking cool is that? Anyway, I'm getting distracted. I haven't taken my meds. Hang on. Oh no, I didn't take them yesterday. Shit. Anyway, now that I've been thoroughly distracted and yapped, it's time to continue with cul-de-sac. Back to this guy who's really fucking depressing. Like, you just get so annoyed at how predictable I found his mood sometimes. But damn, if I ever really knew why. Of course, it doesn't help that when you're that close to someone, everything starts to reflect on each other. One bad mood feeds into another, and stress just bounces back and forth between you. You can get real bad if you're not careful, and we weren't careful.
The thing is, when we both found ourselves in positions...
Oh no, don't apologise. I've had a great... I love yapping. Don't apologise, Blackbird.
The two of us spending all our time together, we reckoned it was going to be real romantic. We were real stupid back then.
Yeah.
And when Alberto's parents offered to sell us their home in Cheadle, we thought it was a great investment.
I mean...
Nice and quiet, good neighbourhood, just a real nice home for the two of us.
That sounds
and
nice.
So much bigger than anything we could afford in the city. And before you think Cheadle, the suburb of Manchester, that's not the one I'm talking about.
Oh.
I'm talking about Cheadle, the suburb of Stoke-on-Trent.
Oh.
Now, technically, it's not even a suburb. It's just a village that looks so much like a suburb that you could pull it up and drop it on the edge of any dull town in England, and it would look the same. Just street after street of identical, blandly pleasant houses, all winding around each other in dead ends and cul-de-sacs and one-way systems, making sure every house has plenty of inoffensive garden. I've never seen
How can a garden be
living in a place so obviously dead.
Quick question. how can a garden be offensive? I'm curious. Is there grass that's like racially motivated or something? I don't understand. I don't know. I'm probably being dumb as shit. But what the flowers arranged as a middle? I really want a garden now, just so I can do that. That's good. I like that. You just you plant roses in the color of a pride flag right in the middle of like a conservative cul-de-sac. That would be fun. Yeah, I don't understand what inoffensive garden is. Like that. Also, and I have to explain my train of thought because otherwise this will make no sense. I was thinking inoffensive, and then the idea of inoffensive suggests that there exists offensive gardening, and then that suddenly reminded me that disgruntled is the opposite of gruntled. And gruntled is an actual word that means to like be pleased with something, to be like, oh, that's good. You can feel gruntled. How brilliant of a word is that? Seriously, if you look up gruntled, I'm pretty sure it is an actual word, unless the internet lied to me, which it could be the case. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a genius, but oh my god, gruntled is the best word in the world. We need to use it more. I think it does. Hang on, we one more quick delay. One more quick delay. Let's just quickly look up gruntled. Yes, gruntled. Informal and often humorous, in good humor, happy and contented. It's to be pleased, satisfied, and contented. Spell checker says it's wrong, but I don't trust it. Well, Oxford Languages says that it's a word, so gruntled. It's a fucking... I'm so happy. I'm feeling so gruntled right now. What a brilliant word. I'm feeling like it's so... I love when things like that happen, because like you say the word disgruntled and you're like, it makes sense, because dis in front of something normally means like, yeah, it's like the opposite of something. And it never occurred to me that gruntled was a word, and I'm so glad that it is. It makes me happy just saying it. Anyway, back to this guy who is disgruntled.
2 years we lived there.
Okay, that's not
2
long.
years imprisoned in that beige, comfortable house with the man I loved, watching our relationship
Absolutely.
turn to sniping and snapping and bitter passive aggression.
Hang on.
Just street A systems, making sure every house has plenty of inoffensive garden.
Mm-hmm. Not to be confused with
I've never
offensive
seen people
garden.
happily living in a place so obviously dead.
I see. Okay.
2 years we lived there.
Mm-hmm.
2 years imprisoned in that beige, comfortable house
Mm-hmm.
with the man I loved, watching our relationship turn to sniping and snapping and bitter passive aggression.
Yikes.
I'd say that cheating on him was a foolish act of past me, but honestly, one of the few decisions I've ever made that I completely understand. I didn't even try to hide it, not really.
Yikes! Man really just said this man was so... He deserved it. Jesus. It's one of the few decisions I made. Hi, Justin! So good to see you. To catch you up, we have been discussing the word gruntled, which is the opposite of disgruntled, and gruntled means being pleased. And I'm laughing at the fact that this person said, I wish I could say that it was a bad decision to cheat on him, but it's one of the few decisions that was good. And the absolute savagery statement. Hang on, what the quote? I'd say cheating on him was a foolish act of past me, but honestly, it's one of the few decisions I've ever made that I completely understand. Yikes! I didn't even try to hide it.
When he found out and it all ended, I kind of hated myself. The music was too loud.
Oh shit. I apologize. I gotta hang on. I just gotta send something real quick.
Yeah. And it all ended. I kind of hated myself for just how relieved I was that I'd finally be able to leave that place. To get in my car and drive away from that gentle suburban nightmare.
I bet.
I mean,
you're clearly bloody miserable. It's just the way that Wait, who is it? Is it a guy or a girl that's talking? I didn't even. Herman's a guy's name, yeah. Yeah, I love how he was just like, man, best decision I ever made. Anything to get out. Like, god damn. Brutal.
There for 2 years and I still got lost trying to leave. I thought that was the worst that place would ever make me feel. Wish I'd been right.
How could it get worse?
I in Liverpool and tried to tell myself I was happier. The single life, footloose and sitting at home, binging bad TV.
Eesh.
I tried to get back into the club scene, but honestly, I think I'm just too old now. The music was...
Bold of you to assume I ever got into the club scene. I cannot think of a situation that brings me more passive anxiety than a fucking nightclub. And I'm 24. I'm 24. I've never set foot in a club. And I think I'm better off. I'm so glad you get me, Blackbird. Like, for real. What? It's just so loud. And everyone's getting drugged. And it's hot. Like, I would just be so sweaty and gross. Been in a couple, hate it for real. Like, okay, I could maybe stand it if I was in semi-comfortable clothing and it was easy to get in and out so that I could get fresh air. I had earplugs in and I just never bought a drink. I just got wasted before I went to avoid the hypnol, you know? Like, even the music I can't get behind. What I can get behind, though, is there are those clubs that are, hi, Spooky! I like I've heard of clubs where it's like they play musicals. Spooky, Blackbird, and Justin. The gang. Oh, now we just need Marie and Levant, and then I think we've got the whole gang, don't we? Or is there someone else I'm missing? I might be missing. I hope I'm not, because then they'll feel left out. I'm pretty sure that's everyone. Yeah, we need Levant and Marie, and then we've got the whole gang. And that's just very exciting. But the clubs where they play like musicals. So you've got like an entire room of people fucking screaming Hamilton and like Hades Town. Like that I get behind. That slaps. Anyway, yeah. So fuck clubs. You will never find me in a club. Horrifying. I've been to pubs. I can handle pubs. Can't handle clubs.
It was too loud, the drinks were too expensive, and the sort of thing I used to take to be dancing all night now hit me with a come down so hard that I had to write off almost the entire week.
Yikes.
It didn't help that over the course of a 10-year relationship...
The fuck were you taking, my brother? Were you dipping into hard cocaine to fucking go to a club? Jesus Christ.
My friends had become our friends, and there weren't any of them siding with me in this situation.
Well, yeah, you cheated on him.
Some would drop platitudes about maybe reconnecting after the fallout was done with. But I know when I'm being handled by people who don't want to create any more drama. It was miserable. But every time I thought about going back, I felt nauseous. The idea of returning to those eggshell walls that we never got around to repainting, and the living room that expected me to sit there and watch Midsummer Murders until I passed away peacefully in my sleep.
That is very...
throw up.
This feels like the live reenactment of Cacao and Cocaine. You know, the clouds are raining, cacao and cocaine. Hand me peace on a plate, I throw it back, I prefer pain. You know the one, right? And Cocaine. Who was it by? Sophia Isella, who also wrote, like, all the other cool ass songs, like the Doll People. And everyone supports women and Hot Gum and Us and the Pigs. Literally, this sounds like a reenactment of that, where it's like life is so horrifically dull that it's like it's just can't handle. It's just too much. You feel dead. I get what they're saying. It's why I hate when people and like grayify everything. Fucking millennials with their grey paint. They should not be allowed to buy paint. They paint everything. They paint marble, they paint wood, they paint like fucking glass if they can. Like it's they're ruining all the cool houses.
I'd probably have stayed away forever if it hadn't been for the moose.
The moose?
There was a carved wooden moose, you see, something Alberto's grandfather had carved, apparently, and a real family heirloom.
Right.
It was an ugly old thing, with this weird, angular face that always made my skin crawl a bit.
Right.
I'd never let him display it in our house, so it had lived in one of the suitcases under the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
The suitcases I pulled out and filled in a tearful rage when I was leaving. So, yeah, I'd kind of accidentally stolen the moose. When he finally realised and texted me, demanding it back, I probably just have sent it by post.
Yeah.
But no, for some reason I decided I was going to drive all the way down there and give it back in person.
I accidentally stole the moose. That's really funny, I'm sorry.
Hoping for a fight, or just to see him again. I don't know. I was younger then.
Mm-hmm.
Foolish. It was late when I got to what I thought was his street, driving through the one-way signs and well-maintained gardens that bordered that snaking road. The sun had disappeared.
Yeah, I'd kind of accidentally stolen the moose.
Fairly light. That late summer twilight.
That's up there with, is he trying to say something about not digging my own metaphorical hole? In which case, what the fuck is my metaphorical hole? Do you remember that one from, I think it was Dig or The Hole? Where he was like, is this something about not perpetually digging into a metaphorical hole? In which case, what is the metaphorical hole that I'm digging? Yes, what is my metaphorical pit? I love that quote. It's so good because he's like, is he trying to tell me this? If so, then what is it? Because like, I don't, what the fuck? It's just good. It's just funny.
To just drag on forever.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't any other cars on the road, and I was already getting frustrated. My sat-nav had decided to start sending me around in a circle, and I was apparently no closer to finding our Alberto's house.
Mm-hmm.
The roads weren't like I remembered them. Or rather, they were exactly like I remembered them. Bland, interchangeable, impossible to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
I must have driven around for almost a half hour before I finally decided that if the internet and GPS couldn't...
WikiHow, how to identify your metaphorical pit. You guys are way funnier than I am.
Help me. I'd have a proper look at the actual paper map that I kept in the boot. I spent a few minutes scanning the Cheadle area until I found the road I was looking for. Ash Tree Hill.
I know, obviously, he wouldn't in this situation, but I probably would because I never take anything seriously. If I had to return something to my ex, I'd be texting them around this point saying, yo, I'm lost. These streets all look the same. So I'm going to shout Marco. I'm going to need you to shout Polo, and we're going to go from there. And that's how I would find the house because I don't take anything seriously. And they could either go, fuck you, and I could just be lost and they don't get their moose back, or Marco Polo, bitch. Pick. I actually did do that once to find a friend on uni campus. I went, where are you? I'm in Forum. And she was like, I'm also in Forum. And I went, okay, hang on. I'm gonna shout Marco. And then I did. I went, Marco! And then I heard to scream, Bono! And I went, ah! And off I went. Everyone stared. It was uncomfortable, but I create uncomfortable situations. It's in my blood. It's who I am as a person, which is why I need friends again, because I'm becoming a timid little good boy. Ooh, and it's embarrassing and disgusting. I need to be a feral rat boy again. I need that feral possum energy that I have lost from the lack of social contact. I've become like one of those unsocialized cats that hisses and then eats the food. Like they'll hiss for good measure and then eat the food that you've given them because they don't know how to react to kindness. So they just kind of go. That's me now. I'm like, fuck, thank you. I don't know how to deal with people anymore.
And I drove on until I found a street sign at the next turning, hoping to compare it to what was on the map. And then I stopped. Because the sign...
Goblin energy. Also, I won't say what entity this is, but this is one of my favorites for it. Very unsettling, TM. I agree. I'm, we're only 13. We still got 23 minutes left, I'm pretty sure.
Said.
Yeah, we've still got 23 minutes. And I feel like we're at the crux, but we're clearly not, because we're not even bloody halfway, which is in itself a terrifying idea, because that means it's going to get infinitely worse than what we're at right now. I can't actually remember which one it is. I feel like it could apply to a few. You could maybe talk in code and see if...
Road. No name. Just road. And it wasn't as though the actual name of the street had been defaced or removed. The sign was complete. It just didn't say anything else.
A road called
so I drove
Road.
on until I found the next one.
Okay.
Street. I tried to compare it to the map. Maybe this place just had some really bland road names, and somehow I'd never noticed in the 2 years I'd lived there. But
this feels kind of like distortion, weirdly enough. If I were to put my money on one of the 14 fears and not the creepy 15th one that's trying to get in the party, I would say that this is the distortion. Because it's very bland, which isn't really distortion's vibe, but it's the idea that, like, you can't trust your mind, and it's like the world around you isn't quite right. And it's like, you don't have to be super colorful and weird and distorted for that to work. You can just be so uncanny that it looks like you're from the fucking backrooms. That's what this is giving backrooms energy. We've accidentally no-clipped into the fucking backrooms. Good God.
The names I remembered. Chapel
I love
Street,
the backrooms
Meadow
as a
Drive,
concept.
Station Road, bland, sure, generic, but not literally placeholder. I pressed on, looking for more. Avenue. Close. Way.
Jesus.
Lane. Only over the suffix.
Can you imagine living there? Let's go down. It's like, okay, so you go up to road, and then you get to crossing, and you go down street, and then around corner. And if you go up avenue, you'll come to cul-de-sac. That's where I am. That would be such that would, like, you'd hear it and you'd go, I'm understanding the words, but I'm still afraid. I'm still uncomfortable.
Starting to feel a little bit freaked out, and I decided,
to be honest, can imagine trying to explain to someone would be yeah, see, in reality it's funny. In this nightmare world, it would be horrifying, because you'd hear that and you'd go, oh hell no. Like, if I was in the Magnus Archives universe, right, and someone gave me those instructions, I would for real just say, bruh, you are not on this plane anymore. I'm sorry to be the one to be the bearer of bad news, but you no-clipped into another universe, and I'm not coming to get you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not the one. I'm not the one, buddy. Like, you can call me a bad friend, but it's been nice knowing you. I need to ask my mum to do my hair again. My buzz is all grown out. It's getting to the point where I can almost grab it, and that's too long. It needs to be so short that when I touch it, I like my buzz to be so short that if I do this with my hair, it velcros into place, and I have to like, because that looks like it's velcroing. It's not. That's just getting hooked behind my ear. It's not attached to my hair. When it's so short, it will velcro my hair to it, and that's good short. Would not be surprised to find some village in Yorkshire with. I do know in Australia there's a place called Fucking, which I think is brilliant. And then they changed it to Fugging, Fugging, and everyone took the piss out of them, even more than they had been already. They should have stuck with Fucking because it was hilarious. It's a brilliant name. It was like, we're in Fucking. Near to me is a place called Wasp's Nest. My ex used to live in like this area. It was called something like the area was like it was like the flower region, because every single street was named after a flower. So you had Daisy Lane and you had Carnation Road and all of that, and it was very cute, but the place itself was like horribly like dreary, so it didn't really live up to these beautiful flowery names that it had. It was a nice enough place, and it was near to the university, so it wasn't, but it was more like, for such a flowery set of names, you'd expect like cobblestone paths and region. Did you explain? No, he lived in Southampton. I can't remember what it was called. I just remember that all the roads were named after flowers, and so the general area was called like the flower place or something. I can't remember the adjective, but regardless, yeah. So I think we need to go back to the time when streets had really fucking stupid but ridiculously funny names. I think those were the good days. We've degenerated as a society since then.
I had to just get out of there. I could come back later when my sat-nav was working properly in proper daylight.
Yeah, why the fuck are you there at night, you weirdo?
Put my headlights on. I still hadn't seen any other cars on the road, or, as I thought more about it, people on the streets. But as you might imagine, getting out of there proved even more difficult than finding the house I was looking for.
Well, yeah, you can't just no-clip out of the back
rooms. I
rooms.
found a main that led to this weird looping suburbia. A one-way sign seemed to spring up, directing me to the sprawl. I did
Fuck the one-way.
A U-turn as I was channeled into one dead-end cul-de-sac after another, until eventually I decided to simply disregard the one-way signs completely. I cruised past the one that seemed to be blocking my most likely exit, and almost breathed a sigh of relief as I found myself I'd been trapped in, until it led me to an entirely different maze of unremarkable residential neighborhoods.
Oh no.
Even then, I still didn't accept that I was trapped.
Well,
it didn't make any sense.
I wouldn't either, to be fair.
It wasn't like I'd seen anything blatantly supernatural. It wasn't that there was anything abnormal about the whole situation. It was just that the normal seemed to go on forever. At some point, I got out of the car and started hammering on random doors. I mean, I tried the doorbells at first, but they were silent, so I started knocking and knocking until my hand hurt. There was no answer at any of them. There were no lights on behind the drawn curtains. And all that.
Do you know what this? No, do you know what this is like? This is like this story I read about some guy in America. He was driving on like the freeway, which I assume is like the motorway, I guess. I mean, it makes sense.
And he said he it was getting dark and he wasn't going to get home, so he was looking for like a place to stop for the night, just sort of stay at a motel before moving on. And the only place he found was like some place off of 82. I don't know what that means, so do not quote me, because that might be the wrong number. Either way, he saw one off a junction, right? It was like the first off point that he'd seen for hours, and was like, well, shit, I guess this is where I'm staying for the night. Went into this absolutely liminal space of a town. There was jazz music playing just in the square, right? There was no one around, and there was like 2 people that he kept seeing in different, like, as employees of different shops. So he went into a McDonald's and ordered some food, right? Got food that was definitely not McDonald's food. Then went to a hotel. The cashier was definitely the cook from the McDonald's. And she was like, no, we're fully booked. So he went to another one, and that was the cashier from the McDonald's. And she was like, no, we're fully booked. She went to another one. He went to another one. And finally they had a place to stay. Obviously, by the way, there's no cars in any of these places. So they're fully booked. When I say they're fully booked, I'm saying in quotes, because they're obviously not. Right. And the whole time these guys are so so pissed off. They're so like agitated. They're like, no. Like when he's ordering the food, if they were actual McDonald's people, they would have been fired for the poor customer service. Like they were just like, fine. Like, and eventually they let him sleep in one of the places, right? He slept. He got Wi-Fi. Like there was Wi-Fi and he connected, but nothing loaded. So the Wi-Fi was like not actual Wi-Fi, which as a concept is weird as shit, but regardless, he then woke up, went downstairs, was like, how do I get out of here? It's like same way you came in. And when he drove out, it was like a different fucking place. He drove out onto a completely different road. And then everyone online was like, oh yeah, that's one of those fake military towns. And he was like, I'm sorry, am I the only person that doesn't know about these? And I didn't. And so apparently in America, they just have these fake towns for some reason. And the whole reason why they were so pissed at him was because they were going to have to file this massive long incident report about how some pedestrian managed to get into this fake town, right? And the whole concept itself is just terrifying. Can you imagine? It's dark. It's not been driving. You haven't seen any other exits in hours. You exit into a town. It is barren. All the lights are on. There's plenty of shops, but there's not another soul. There is no one around, and there's jazz music playing just outside. Like, what in the fucking Professor Layton is this? Do you know what I mean? Like, what? I can appreciate background music. In reality, if you just heard music suddenly playing, you'd be terrified. You would be fucking shitting yourself. Can you imagine you walk into a room and suddenly you'd be like, where's the danger? Because like, what the fuck? It doesn't happen. I love their calming jazz. Guy accidentally enters my 2011 Sims Wood world and struggles to find McDonald's for 2 hours. And yeah, so anyway, the whole time these guys were like, for fuck's sake, this guy needs to get out. But it was obvious, like, I guess by the third time he tried to book in, that they were like, he's just gonna have to sleep the night. He's clearly not leaving, so we're gonna have to put him in a room. But then the worst bit is, imagine leaving the same way you got in, supposedly, and being on a completely different street. I would actually think I was losing my mind, because I would be like, no. Absolutely not. I came in on this street. What the fuck do you mean? I've like moved 20 streets over, apparently. He entered on like 60 something and then came out on 82 or some shit like that. And if that happened to me, I'd be like, what the fuck? And then the fact that literally everyone else that he told this story to was like, oh yeah, that's one of those fake military towns. do you mean it's just one of those fake military towns? Is this like a well-known thing? Like, what do you mean? What? So yeah, the concept in itself, terrifying. I understand that there's probably a need for it because, I don't know, maybe it's for like drills to be like, okay, this is how you deal with like a hostage situation in a busy street, and then they have a fake busy street that they can then use. It's obviously a smart idea and makes sense, but oh my God, can you imagine just showing up in one of these liminal ass space towns and seeing the same face in different costumes? Apparently, though, they didn't have like the McDonald's outfits on. They were just there, like, I'm the cashier. But can you imagine just seeing them and it being like, hi? I would lose my mind. And I think it would probably be worse for me as well, because obviously I'm not American. So can you imagine my dumbass shows up? I'm trying to make jokes. I'm trying to lighten the situation. These military people are looking at me like I'm a literal threat. I would shit myself. Absolutely not. But also imagine working in that fake town and some rando keeps trying to sleep in a military Yeah, can you imagine? He's like, I'll be back next week. They're like, please don't. But yeah, so apparently this happens on occasion. People just wander in, and then they have to fill in like a massive incident report to be like a literal like common person just showed up in a secure military base, because that's what they are. They're military bases that look like towns, and they have to fill out and they're like, and so they saw him go into the McDonald's and were like, you've got to be shitting me. I just love the fact that he was like, I ordered a burger and fries, and what I received was definitely not McDonald's burger and fries. Which means that this random military guy had to cook him a burger and fries. Oh, also paid. None of the payments went through. That was another thing. That was his Yeah, he was like, I checked, and on my bill, like my card, and none of the payments that I made went through, which in itself is even worse, because then it's like, did I just illusion dream this entire fucking thing? Because you then have no physical proof. Like, yes, I paid, but my bank did not. But yeah, literally, they apparently, yeah. So like, he would show up in a building, and it would be the same person, and he was like, oh no! One time he was like, weren't you just working in the McDonald's? And the guy looked at him and said, I have a twin. And I want more stories like this, because apparently this is a thing that happens to several people. Hang on, I know we've gone completely off topic. I hope that's okay. Let me see if I can find the story, because it is really funny. Fake military towns story Reddit, because it was definitely on Reddit. Oh, it was. All right, I found it. I think I found a fake town last year, like Truman Show fake. Oh, hi, Marie. We're just talking about liminal space towns. I was telling a story about a story I read, and I was about to read it. So you came at a brilliant time, and then we will be continuing with 150. I promise we will. Be me, last summer, cross-country road trip, hitting up some national parks for, I don't know, 4 out. In central/southern Utah. It's getting late, like 10 p.m. Been driving since 6-ish. It's dark as fuck, no moon, can only see what's lit up by my headlights. Decide to find some place to rest for the night at next exit. See a town off in the distance, turn off on only pull-off I've seen in over an hour, heading towards town. Pull-off is unmarked and unlit, not on car GPS, no cell service. Town is directly ahead though, keep going. Road turns into dirt road and is about 5 miles until it turns into pavement again. Right at town where businesses and houses start showing up. Immediately, town strikes me as weird. Nobody is in the streets, no cars on the streets, or in the businesses' parking lots. Jazz music is being pumped through the streets for some reason, not loudly, but loud enough to hear. This town that looked to be about 7 blocks wide from some miles out has every major fast food chain I've heard of and 7 hotels on the main street. Still no cell service, still not on car GPS. Go to get food. KFC is fully illuminated and unlocked. Nobody there. Same thing in Jack in the Box. McDonald's has a cashier and cook. When I go there, both look annoyed. Take my order. Give me distinctly non-McDonald's nuggets and fries. Leave. Start going to get a bed for the night. Hampton Inn. Empty parking lot. Third annoyed-looking person informs me they're all booked up. La Quinta. Person I'm now convinced was the cook from McDonald's is behind the check-in counter. Also empty parking lot. Also fully booked. Is this just Radiator Springs? I don't know. Holiday Inn Express, empty parking lot. Person that was clearly the fucking cashier at McDonald's is behind the check-in counter. Surprisingly, they have rooms. I ask him if he's the guy from McDonald's. No, that's my brother. Fuck it. Good enough for me. Get to room. Wi-Fi exists, but nothing loads. Shower, crash. Continued. Wake up the next day. No breakfast in lobby, no other guests. McDonald guy still there for checkout. I ask him how to get out of town. Same road you came in on. Head to McDonald's to get something to eat. The town is still playing smooth jazz. Still no one in the streets. Order at drive-thru. Drive-thru lady, definitely lady from Hampton Inn. Order a fucking McGriddle and black coffee. She hands me a microwave English muffin sandwich and what I assume to be some kind of instant coffee. Place is too fucking weird to stay and argue. Heading out of town on the only fucking road in town. Maybe 3 miles onto the 5-mile dirt road, notice a big metal wire fence on both sides of the road in the desert. Meet on the road in a big motorized gate that is open. Soon as I pass through, gates start closing. Get out onto road, finally get onto 62. That's not right. Could have sworn I was on 89 when I decided to pull off, and there's a mountain in between. Finally get cell service. Nothing matches the description of the town. None of the charges show up on my card. I showed some people, and one suggested it's Richfield, but I know I was south of there, and, you know, they would have actually charged me for stuff. Like, it's so unhinged. And then someone was like, oh yeah, that's just a fake military town. He told his friend, he was like, oh yeah, that's one of those fake military towns. And he was like, that's one of what? What? And apparently and so then he was like, yeah, like the military creates, and it makes sense. They make these fake towns and then they can like run stuff in them. And he was like, why do I seem to be the only person that didn't know this? So anyway, that's the story of distinctly non-McDonald's is now entering my vocabulary. Exactly. Like, it's so fucking funny. I love it. Anyway, that's what cul-de-sac is reminding me of, is just the weirdest shit. These fake towns. I fucking love it, man.
0.
Anyway, I apologize. I've gotten very distracted. Let's zoom back a little bit.
There was no answer at any of them.
There we go.
There were no lights on behind the drawn curtains. And all the house numbers were 0.
Oh, that's uncomfy.
I got back into my car and started driving again, going on and on until finally...
I would not get out of that car, even if my life bloody depended on it. I'm sorry, but absolutely not. No. No, thank you.
Bag of petrol. It rolled to a sputtering stop at the end of one of the indistinguishable dead ends.
You were driving for that long?
It had been full dark for hours by this point, and my dashboard claimed it was 3 a.m. My phone had died about an hour ago, and once the last of the power went in the car, I was left with no way to tell the time at all. I wished I hadn't thrown away the wristwatch Alberto had given me, but it was too late for those regrets.
Oh my god.
I stepped outside, looking down the street. There were no lights on in any of the houses, but the identical lampposts bathed the place in a sickly orange as far as I could see.
Mm-hmm.
I decided that the roads must be the problem. They were what was keeping me trapped in this place, constantly turning and bending and confusing me. If I just...
Same. I love the idea of liminal spaces. I love the back rooms. I love seeing all those weird, like, I don't know how they create those animations of back rooms where it's like like all the floor and shit, but I fucking love them. I just think they're so cool. But the idea of being trapped in one, I would rather become the pet of a nice liminal space being than exist there just by myself. I would submit to whatever was there. I'd just be like, please take care of me. I'm terrified. I don't know where I am. Don't know how I got here. I'm shitting myself. Please. I need someone to take care of me.
Picked a direction and kept to it. Eventually, I managed to get to the edge of what by now I had decided was a newly built neighborhood that apparently no one had moved into yet.
You know what?
Explanation, it didn't
sound
make
logic.
Any sense, but it didn't need to. Not at that moment.
It's a sound logic.
So
if you keep going in one direction, you have to find something.
Through gardens, trying at all times to keep my direction straight and consistent. I may be too old for clubbing, but I still keep pretty active. Getting over the fences wasn't much of a problem for me as I passed from identical road to identical garden, over and over again.
I'm sorry, man. This sounds
I don't know how
horrifying.
long I went on like this, but it felt like hours. At the start, I was counting how many houses I passed, but when I got to 100...
100 hours? Do you just say 100 hours, my good man? Oh, houses. Oh, thank God. I was going to say 100 hours. My man, how are you still alive? You need to eat. That's like several weeks at least. Jesus.
I was beginning to eat away at my careful rationalizations, and I couldn't allow that. Eventually, my legs started to go, and I decided I needed some rest.
Okay.
I was about to sit on the street when a thought occurred. I marched up to a nearby front door, prepared to kick in the flimsy-looking wood, but trying the handle revealed it was unlocked.
That's unpleasant.
I don't know why I picked that house.
Love liminal spaces, but was down south once, and it was just flat nothing for miles on a cloudless day. No wind, no movement. One road with a pop-up crab restaurant. Absolutely horrible. Gee, yeah. Post your liminal space experiences in the chat. That's horrifying, spooky. Good God. A crab restaurant of all things as well just adds to the, like, if it had been like a chicken shop, it'd be like, okay, but crab of all things, like, it feels too random. You're like, why? Why?
It was exactly identical to all the others. I've often wondered if there was anything that drew me to it. Perhaps I was just unlucky. Or perhaps there only ever was one house.
Oh, God.
The lights worked, which was a relief. And the inside looked exactly how I expected it to. And I mean, exactly.
It was a converted horse trailer. That is worse. Oh, my God.
How I expected it to. From the blank IKEA furniture to the subtly patterned cream wallpaper to the picture frames lining the wall, containing what were clearly stock photos.
I hate it when people have stock photos and they don't
scene of domestic bliss.
and they don't change like the photos out. That's horrifying to me.
Down on one of the almost comfortable armchairs. My body was aching, and my eyes eyes were heavy, and I had the thought that maybe I should head up to the bedroom. In the back of my mind, though, I knew that was a trap. I had somehow become convinced that if I went to sleep here, then I would never leave.
Then
My
what?
hand drifted down and brushed a plastic remote control. Almost on instinct, I picked it up and turned the TV on. A cooking show. A woman I almost recognized, fussing over a turkey. She was talking, or at least it sounded like she was. The cadence and the sense was so much like English that it took me almost a full minute to realize that she wasn't actually saying words. She never looked at the camera.
It's like sim language.
There seemed to be something wrong with her eyes, though I couldn't say what.
That's
Her
an
hands
unpleasant.
moved over the pale skin of the
All right,
turkey,
see you in a second.
poking it and prodding it as though preparing it, though she wasn't actually
Oh, yeah.
doing anything to it. Eventually, she gripped a part of it between finger and thumb and tore off a long strip of dry-looking meat
Ew.
before tossing it over her shoulder and returning to her strange mimicry of cooking.
What the
I
fuck?
hit the remote again. A shopping channel. The host was a tall, clean-shaven man with close-cropped hair. He was holding a brick and talking about it in that same flow of non-words that still had a familiar salesman's patter.
That's
The
so
screen scrolled
unpleasant.
The message, "Buy now," though there was neither price nor contact details, as this man who wouldn't look at the camera earnestly pretended to sell me a brick. It was almost hypnotic.
Buy this brick.
I
This
leaned back
this
in the
this
chair,
brick
trying to think
specifically. Buy
clearly
it.
about what was happening. My eyes found themselves focusing on the ceiling, on a small spot of red that seemed to have seeped through from above. As I climbed those stairs, I desperately tried to tell myself I didn't know what was going to be up there.
Beg your finest pardon. Say psych right now, brother, please. What the fuck, man? This is a really good episode. I love the ones where I'm actually like, oh! I feel like I haven't had proper like ones in a long time. This one's giving real like because I'm never actually scared, obviously. Like I'm not, it's not like a horror game where it's like you play it and sometimes it's hard to go to sleep after because you feel a bit like jumpy, there's loads of adrenaline. It's like thriller, you know, it's thriller rather than horror, you know, it's creepy things, but not in a trying to scare you way. It's just in a trying to make you feel so uncomfortable that like it gives you that feeling. It's a good episode.
And to be fair, I was surprised by some of the details. I saw the spot. I just knew that someone else was up there.
Oh.
And that they were dead.
Oh, great.
The only questions were how and who. I think I'd given up on why.
I see. I was going to say, what about why, my guy?
Out. A young woman, conservatively dressed. Her face was bloody, but I was sure I didn't recognize her. She had a bag with her, and her ID read Yetunde Uthman. Not a name I'd ever encountered before. Just another victim of this place.
Is that... No, that apocalypse person got out. I don't know. I don't know if I recognize that name.
It looked as though she had forced her head through the mirror on the dressing table.
Yikes.
Blood's cutting her face and neck to ribbons. A particularly large piece piercing her jugular, spilling blood all down the unremarkable white table and onto the light brown carpet below.
Christ, man.
I don't think she'd been dead that long. But I'm not a doctor. And I didn't really try to check.
I mean, fair enough, honestly.
All my tiredness gone in a sudden rush of adrenaline, down the stairs, out the door, and into the night, and the rows upon rows of bland, empty houses. And then all at once I wasn't running anymore. I was lying on the ground, collapsed.
No, I don't think so either.
Rough and cool
Blackbird.
Against my cheek, wet from my tears. I was going to die. I knew that now. Just as she had. just as anyone else who came here had. How many corpses lay waiting behind the placid facade of this endless false suburbia? And that was when I heard it. It was quiet. And my mind took a few moments to accept it could be real, but sure enough, there it was. The sound of my phone's ringtone. I looked up, as not 3 doors down was my car. The door still open where I had left it. I stumbled over, my legs still weak, and grabbed the handset, which should have been long out of battery. And I stared at the glowing screen. It was Alberto. He was calling me. I don't know how, but the tears came even faster now as I answered, sobbing with relief to hear him yelling at me for taking so long. Had I forgotten? Was I even planning to bother? I tried to reply, to explain, but all I could manage to say, to get through the shaking sobs, was I love you.
Oh.
He went very quiet. And then he hung up. It didn't matter though, because when I looked around, the windows of the houses were lit, and a woman was coming down from her front door to ask if I needed help with my car. We're working on it, the two of us. We're not exactly back together yet, but I think it's going well.
Oh.
He's reluctant to sell the house, but I've made it quite clear that I'm never going back to the suburbs.
Yeah, still no regrets about the cheating. That's in light of the fact that they're back together, that they're like trying again. The fact that he was like, that was completely understand why I did that. Brutal. Bloody hell. But that is also, I don't know, there's something very sweet about that. The fact that it was like, I love you. It's like when I went to the breaking news, Eldritch entity brings couple back together. Who needs counseling when you could simply enter a liminal space and realize what's truly important in life, you know?
Really tell him why. I checked to see if I could find anything about Yetunde Uthman. And I did find a few old social media profiles.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't able to get through to any family or friends. As far as I can tell, she disappeared a year ago.
Oh.
And nobody noticed.
That's a bit sad.
The statement ends. The lonely is possibly the most insidious of the powers, I believe.
Oh!
Certainly it is the one that
that makes sense. I don't know when in the timeline this is, but both Helen and Michael would definitely, for shits and giggles. Was the lonely... That should have occurred to me. I mean, completely isolated. Yeah, he said the lonely is one of the most... That's like what he was just saying. I mean... I thought it was like distortion, you know, like the whole not truly understanding or like not feeling like you can trust your mind and shit. Although I suppose that wasn't the issue. The issue was just that he was completely alone. But I mean, nothing like a traumatic event to bring people together, right? I'm still making these tiny ass things that I was making last time I was streaming, and they haven't gotten any easier. Could also, yeah, I think the issue though is Vast is more specifically like falling and like being in a massive space of emptiness. So I think for me the easiest ones to identify are Corruption and Vast, because if you're falling or you're in the fucking sky and you can't leave, then you're obviously Vast. And if everything's gross, then there's Corruption, isn't there? Pretty black and white.
Delights in having you do its work for it. Even the spiders seem to have a hard time matching it for sheer seductiveness. Time to yourself, self-care, putting yourself forward, not being a burden on those you care about. It doesn't even need to tell you any lies. Just waits for the lies you tell yourself. We're all well aware that with Peter Lucas in charge of the Institute, it's a very real danger to all of us.
I bet.
We are trying. Daisy, Basira and I, we don't leave the Institute much anymore, so we do spend a lot of time together. It's not that easy, though. When everyone has so many walls, so many defenses, sometimes you can feel lonely even when you're all in the same room. But it's better than the alternative. And at least none of us are suffering alone. Martin's got it the worst, of course. But it still seems to be his choice. And I have to trust that he knows what he's doing. Still feeling weak. Restless. I want to be proactive, but it hasn't been going quite so well for us lately. Come in, Melanie.
John, have you got a moment?
Of course, I was just,
The poor man is starving. He is starving on his legs. Like, he's like, I'm hungry, bro. I feel weak. I feel brittle. I feel like a strong wind could knock me over. And I'm like, poor bastard.
having a statement.
Oh, an old one?
Yes, and oh.
Melanie, you are in no position to be like an old one. All right, you've stabbed people. Okay, you've stabbed John. You have no room to judge right now.
Old one. I'm not.
You're the one that literally kept a bullet festering in your leg because it gave you a good reason to be angry. You are not in a position to be judging whether or not he's having fresh statements or not. All right, girl. He just needs a Snickers. Can you imagine? What a fucking brilliant ad that would be. In one of the episodes, he says, I have a Snickers now, you know. And he's like, well, it's not the same, but it's tied me over. What a brilliant fuck. Because, like, for literal 4 seasons, he's like, I'm starving. He has 1 Snickers. That's a bit better. That's a little bit better. That's taken the edge off. This episode is sponsored by Snickers.
Doing my best.
Sure.
What do you want?
I just wanted to talk to you about...
The line the witch you're dust to this bitch.
My career, I guess. My position in the archives.
I see.
Look, I'm not going to do my job anymore.
Okay.
I am not sure I follow. You know we can't quit. We've all tried.
I didn't say I was going to quit. I said I'm not going to do my job. No researching, no filing, no field trips, nothing that is going to help the Institute in any way. I'll still be around. I can't be a part of this anymore. If I get sick, I get sick. And if I die...
Why?
Because this place is evil, John. And so doing this job, helping it out, even in small ways, is in some way evil too. Every time we try to use it to do good, it just seems to make everything worse. And I will not be a part of that anymore.
What about the unknowing? We saved the world.
Did we?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was the right thing to...
Yeah, you did. Do you not remember what it was fucking like? It's all well and good to be like, did we? Yeah. You literally forgot everything for a good solid minute there. Like, yeah, you did save the world. It cost a lot, but you saved the world. Don't be snarky, bitch. Although I will appreciate setting the boundaries, being like, I can't do it. You know, I think therapy's working for Melanie. I will still say, though, I am getting really fucking sick and tired of everyone judging him for wanting to eat. Was she not? Oh, fair enough. If she was there, she would not be saying, did we? Oh, yes, she distracted Elias. I forgot about that. Honestly, kind of respect. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's like being like, look, I can't leave. I get that. But for my own sake, I'm not going to work anymore. I'll be here, but I'm not, because it's bad for me. You know, it's a very fair boundary. But at the same time, if one more person judges John for needing to eat statements, I'm gonna fucking riot. I can't be dealing with this shit, all right? This man looks like an empty Capri Sun. He needs food. Probably the best decision she makes all season. Yeah, I fucking bet. I mean, it just, do you know what it is? It's the hypocrisy. I'm getting real sick of the hypocrisy of everyone judging John for giving people nightmares when we are talking about murderers, violent, like, anarchists and angry bastards, and people that literally blew themselves up. Like, we're talking about people who are themselves not fucking saints, and they're sitting here judging him up to the high heavens. And it's like, compared to what you guys have already done, what he could potentially be doing is infinitely less extreme. You have a body count higher than the number of stars in the fucking solar system. You are an accomplice to most of those. You literally stabbed me, which is fair because I was doing unprepared surgery on you. So you know what? We're kind of even. But at the same time, you know, you literally kept a bullet inside of you that was festering and allowing you to become like part of something or other because it gave you a good reason to be angry, which is so selfish, but also you shouldn't have done unprepared surgery on you. I am sorry about that. But these people need to stop judging him. While listening to season 4 for the first time, I was like, you fairly mad at everyone else for being so rude to my boy Jonathan, but re-listening, I start to respect their decisions. Interesting. I mean, I think that's fair, but I also just feel like it just seems so illogical to me because it's not like it's okay. It's not. It's like, for example, if you had a werewolf and the werewolf every full moon would change, right? It's like saying to them, "Don't change. Changing makes you a monster. Don't do it." And it's like, what do you expect? I don't have a choice here. If I try and resist it, it'll make it worse. If I do it, you're going to call me a monster. Either way, I'm a monster. They're all still judging him despite the fact that he's literally starving himself for the sake of trying to be a good person. That's what pisses me off, I think, is the fact that none of them are appreciating the fact that he is literally starving himself in the name of trying to be a decent person. None of them are appreciating the fact that he could turn around and go, shut the fuck up, and just do it anyway. He could. He has the power to. And he would be better off for it because he would actually be like energized and have food and like fuel in the tank, you know? And yet they're all being like, not a live one though, right? And it's like, yes, no, not a live one. I've already said I'm not going to do that. Can you all stop treating me like I'm a monster when I'm actively trying to not be a monster? Like, I'm trying my best here and you're all still treating me like shit. He can't win. That's the thing. It's like he can't win. Like, if he does eat live statements, they get on his dick about it. If he doesn't eat live statements, they're constantly checking up on him and thus still getting on his dick about it. So it's like, well, I'm now just being treated like a monster and I'm hungry. So this is arguably worse. Like, it's like, exactly. And it's also the sense of, like, you can't starve. It's also just the logic. Like, you can't starve forever. Yeah, Daisy's not. Daisy is like one of the few people that I really like this season. She's kind of become a little bit more, not timid, but she's become a little bit more patient in terms of how she acts. Like, she doesn't just immediately do what comes to mind in any situation. She kind of actually thinks about it. All cops are bastards still. But yeah, I just feel like everyone is being very mean when he is actively trying to be a good person, when he could very well be a real piece of shit. We both suck. Let's go get drinks. I don't know. I just feel like everyone's being very mean to him. And I feel like if you keep being mean to him, it's just going to get worse. All right, let's continue.
But how many people were killed to do it? We weren't even a neutral party. We did it as agents of the Eye because Elias told us to.
And then you put him in jail.
Martin put him there. And he's still doing harm.
This is true.
You ever think that maybe this whole ritual business is just an excuse and that we're all part of some huge, miserable fear machine?
Yeah, kind of.
I've considered the possibility.
Right. Well, if I'm just another cog, maybe I can't leave the machine, but from this moment, I'm not turning. I'm jammed.
Did your therapist suggest this?
Not exactly. She's just helped me work through some things I've been thinking for a while. She doesn't know the details. Just that I'm in a bad contract situation working somewhere pretty awful. She thinks I work for the Tories.
Melanie.
That's really funny. Oh. She thinks it's worse. She thinks I work for the Tories, man.
Could you describe your therapist for me?
What? You think I wouldn't notice if she had cobwebs down her face?
No.
That's it, isn't it? You really think I'm so stupid I wouldn't have noticed if my therapist was some kind of monster?
It was a...
John and Daisy are part of the reason why this is my favorite season. I'm not sure if this is my favorite season yet. I feel like I need to listen to all of them to make an executive decision about my favorite. But I will say this is an interesting season in the sense that it almost feels incredibly slow. Like, I feel like a lot of the other seasons, everything's moved really fast. It's been really intense. And this one almost feels like it's dragging. Like, he's just dragging his way through it, which, again, makes sense because the man is starving, you know? And, you know, the one person who really cared about him is isolating himself. And everything's just kind of weird. And he showed up in the middle of everything, having come out of a bloody coma. You know, most of his friends are dead. He probably feels incredibly alone right now. And not even for want of Peter, but literally just because all the people that he truly cared about and had rapport with are either dead or deliberately avoiding him. And that's horrible. It's very character-centered. And if you know me, you know I love me good character writing. Oh, yeah. I mean, I love a good character. What's it called? What's it called? Is it like a spotlight or something? I don't know. It's a thing I kept seeing in fan fiction tags on occasion, like in random fandoms, where it's like a character something. I can't remember the word. Doesn't matter.
Worry.
Right. Okay, I know. That is why I ruined my first 4 sessions and almost torpedoed the chance at a genuinely really good therapist.
Character study, thank you.
I was so paranoid that she was going to turn out to be some thing trying to manipulate me. But no, she's not full of spiders or made of wax or wearing the therapist's skin or whatever. She's just a well-trained professional who I am paying to help me.
Okay. It's just the web can be subtle. You understand?
And for all you know, its plan is to paralyze you with indecision, leaving you sitting here terrified that everything you do is somehow all part of its grand plan. And who do you think that fear is going to feed?
Yes, well, you are not the first to make that point.
Look, I didn't come here for a fight.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you know what was going on. If you need me, I'll be trying to get Daisy drunk.
Good luck. It only ever happened once in 2006. She drank it. Sorry. Didn't mean to.
Sure. See you around.
The Magnus Archives is a podcast distributed by Rusty Quill, licensed under a Creative Commons non-attribution, non-distribution, share alike, 4.0 full license. My words got all twisted and tangled. All right, before we start 151, I'm going to take a whiz. I'm going to get a new drink. Everyone's excited for this one for some reason, so I'm bloody terrified. I know we've been streaming for a while, but hang tight. I promise I will not get distracted. Okay. I'll be back in a minute. Feel free to talk amongst All right, I am back. Currently checking the wiki to remember what happens here. You do not understand how excited I am for this. Same. I remember now. I also cannot wait. It took me one episode. Also excited when they... Yeah, I'm very excited for that too. Oh, okay. I got a snack. Running out of space. I'm a dirty bastard, and there's just stuff everywhere. So actually, give me a second. It's because I've got beads up here as well. So it's, I don't have a lot of room, but I will make room. Okay. 151. All right. Whew. Okay. Are we ready to rumble, fellas? I am terrified because I have no idea what to expect. And at this point, that in itself is enough to scare me shitless. Because it could either be that it's just like, oh, it's just really funny, or like, oh, it's just, there's like a surprise character that we haven't heard from in a while. Or it's going to be like everyone fucking dies, the war starts. You know what I mean? It's one or the other. Okay, 151, big picture. Whew.
Hi everyone, it's Laurie, voice of
Rusty Quill presents the Magnus Archives.
Whew. Okay. The duality of TMA, exactly. Okay. I'm actually quite nervous.
Episode 151.
Is the sound level
Big
okay?
Picture.
I know I pause it a lot during. Okay, good. Good. I know I pause it a lot during, but it's because I don't like talking over it. Because in my mind, that's infinitely worse. I'd rather be able to like stop it, say my piece, play it again, and then nothing gets missed. So hopefully it will be. Hopefully that's cool.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Excuse me, sir. Sorry, you can't actually be here. Oh, not to worry. I seem to be doing all right so far. No, I mean, this area is actually off limits to the public, so... And quite right, too. Goodness. The things they could learn here. Turn your hair white. Best to keep them out, I say.
Fuck you.
Who are you?
My
Did
thoughts.
Peter send you? You must be Martin. Goodness. He was not exaggerating. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, come now. Don't be like that. Let's start over. Simon Fairchild. Peter asked me to look in on him.
I'm sorry, friend. I won't vector up with my scream. Oh shit. Okay. That's fine. Simon Fairchild, he's one of the Fairchilds. I'm trying to in my head think everything I know about him, and I'm stalling because I'm in bloody shock. I'm trying to think like, fuck, what do I know about Simon Fairchild? And I'm just in shock that I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's fucking Simon Fairchild. Okay. Cool. Shit. I love that his first 10 seconds are just gay little chuckles. Related, yeah. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Fair. There we go. Okay. I in my head I was like the vast, right, falling, a lot of that, but I was also just like, Jesus fucking Christ, I was just, I like gay little chuckles.
You and have a small chat. Well, a big chat, really. Answer all those nagging questions.
Don't you dare hurt Martin.
Wait, Simon Fairchild, as in all those people who said I did horrible things to them and their loved ones? Yes. They have been in, haven't they?
I'd hate to think I'm underrepresented in here. Not when Peter tells me that Bone fellow has at least half a dozen.
No, not at all. You've sent plenty of people our way.
Brilliant. So, shall we get started?
Sorry, I'm still not entirely clear what's going on. What are you doing here?
He's so
I
silly.
see. I suppose it was a bit much to expect him to have filled you in on everything already. I mean, in many ways, that's the point.
Right.
So, you've been working with Peter for a while now.
Martin is so f***ing done. He's like, oh, fuck it now. It's another old guy who's cryptid and annoying. Jesus.
Right?
Sure.
And he's been promising you answers to all those difficult questions.
I mean,
I'd let this man narrate my life. He would take the absolute piss out of me for everything. He would be like, and here we see Rose not doing anything that they're supposed to do once again. And I would be like, shut the fuck up. Depressed Martin has no energy for the silly goober. I'm afraid because he sounds so like funny and like ha ha ha, which means he's going to kill someone. And I can't.
Sort of.
Well, that's me.
What?
Yes, well, you have to understand how it is with Peter. He finds talking to people directly very difficult, especially explaining the more esoteric side of things.
Exactly.
Shy chap, I'm sure you'll agree, absolutely lovely. But even if you can convince him to actually give you a straight answer, he's just not that good at actually putting these things into words. Something to do with his upbringing, I think.
Peter has for real. That's what I'm like. This man just has social anxiety. This man's just like, please don't talk to me.
I'm pretty sure he was homeschooled, you know. So what? He sends you to answer questions because he doesn't want to.
Precisely.
And you do it? Why?
Is that your first question?
Is there a limit?
Only until I get bored. And that does tend to come more quickly these days.
Okay, then sure,
Oh, no.
sure. First question then. Why are you helping Peter? Don't you serve different, fears?
Well, now... See, that's actually two questions. The answer to the first is simple. I lost a bet. And this is how the good captain chooses to use that. The second is... sort of. I mean, yes, if you want to get technical, he serves the one alone and I serve the falling titan. But those two are a lot closer than you might imagine. After all, the larger the space you find yourself alone in, the more isolated you feel.
And being aware of how lonely you are can make anywhere feel more empty.
Exactly. I've actually been toying with the idea of trying to do something with the scale of humanity itself. Emphasize all that overpopulation nonsense. But
Just
honestly,
blueprints for a new
doesn't ring
fear.
true for me. We're all just so tiny and pointless, you see. It's hard to really get past it. Also, I worry it might be straying into territory that emboldens our potential new rival.
The extinction.
The very same. Peter said you'd have a lot of questions about that one.
I do. How are new powers born?
Don't know.
How soon could it attempt its ritual?
No clue.
How do we stop it?
Can't help you.
Could you at least try?
No, you're right, of course. The thing you have to...
The kind of guy who would send kills you from text. And that's why we love him. Martin has like -1 fuck left to give, and he's trying his best.
Remember is that no one actually knows how these things work. Not really. There's always been plenty of theories, of course, and over a century or two you do start to get an intuitive feel for it, but there's really no hard and fast rules.
Right.
The powers or entities or fears or whatever you want to call them are bound up in emotion, in feeling, how they exist, what they can do, how they interact with the world. It all makes about as much logical sense as a nightmare. Which is to say, there is a certain sort of emotional logic to it all. Things feel like they flow together in a way that makes sense. But if you try to stop and do the maths, then it all comes apart, at least in my experience.
Right.
When is a new power born? Well, when does it feel like its birth would be right? When enough creatures suffer a terror of it that feels distinct, that feels truly its own, then it would probably feel right for it to emerge into its own. Or perhaps there's a ritual. If it feels right to enact some sort of birthing ceremony, some apocalyptic midwifery.
And how close is it, do you think?
Hard to be sure. Peter thinks very close indeed, what with all the current hubbub, and I'm inclined to agree.
You don't sound worried.
That's because we disagree on exactly how bad it will be. Peter seems convinced that the extinction is different, that its actual birth will be as bad or worse as another power fully manifesting. He believes its advent will be heralded by all sorts of disasters and catastrophes, and global upheavals and what, that kind of thing.
That sounds like a rich feeling.
That would sound like extinction, to be honest. It kind of tracks. I can understand where Peter's coming from.
Well, exactly. Peter, however, seems to think that it will upset the balance that we all have an awful lot invested in. And he's not at all certain the world as we understand will come out the other side.
And let me guess. You think he can't see the big picture?
I see why he likes you. It's all a matter of perspective, you see. My patron has gifted me with, quite frankly, an absurdly long life. An appropriate gift, and one that serves to provide a certain distance from things. Of course, a paltry few centuries is nothing really, but it's more than most get. And even in that brief time, I've seen all sorts of ebbs and flows to balance things. Do you know when the last ritual I attempted was?
I don't know, that space station?
Oh, goodness, no. That's future, my boy. But no, it was 1853, the height of the aquarium mania.
I'm sorry, the future? You know what? We're just gonna steamroll over that little tidbit, because I'm not ready to deal with whatever the fuck that means.
All over the empire, people were starting to understand the depths of the terrible unknown below the ocean. And I thought that was a rich vein to be tapped. Even bothered old Hawley into helping me design a special diving bell for the ritual. I called it the Awful Deep, and between you and me, I was rather proud of myself.
So why didn't it work?
Because it wasn't a very good idea. The fear wasn't out there, not like I hoped it was. It all sort of fizzled. Also, a hunter broke in and destroyed the mechanism, sent me and all my sacrifices plummeting to the bottom of the ocean.
I don't see your point.
My point
The aquarium
is,
mania sounds sick.
you know, I've quite forgotten.
Yeah, I agree.
I've just not been doing much recently. It's not a good time for perspective, you see. The world all feels too small these days. I used to do a lot with religion, but it's just not got the same conceptual scope as it used to. Honestly, I'm pinning most of my long-term hopes on space. But that's at least 100 years away.
Assuming the extinction doesn't derail everything.
Which is why I'm happy helping Peter. But if it does, then I'll either be dead, which would be fine, or I'll adjust.
It doesn't scare you?
Martin, taken on a cosmic scale, we've never even been alive. Not in any way that might register. I mean, if this dreadful little planet had a fractionally different orbit and life had never even started here, then ultimately, nothing of any real importance would have changed.
I think our experience of the universe has value, even if it disappears forever.
What a lonely way to look at things. Which makes sense, I suppose.
So what do you do then, if the world is pointless and your god is so weak right now?
Existential
I have a
dread
good
returns
time.
again.
And do my best to avoid the drama. It's all been getting a bit much over the last few decades. I blame the number of people. From a raw numbers point of view, it's getting very busy. More minds equals more fear, after all.
I thought you said that the maths doesn't work.
Oh, you are a quick one. So maybe I'm wrong. But crucially, I suspect a lot of the other serpents and creatures out there have a similar idea.
I can just tell
Probably
that
why they're all
Simon
in
loves
such a
the
rush
sound
to
of his
make
own
their own
voice. Simon absolutely loves the sound of his own voice. Sorry, what was he saying?
Probably why they're all in such a rush to make their own attempts.
You make it sound like the entities don't even know what they're doing.
I have no idea if they're doing anything at all. If they're even capable of doing things. I know that most of their servants are simply doing their best to interpret and serve something that is almost definitively inconceivable.
You can't be serious.
All right. Let's try one of those analogies Peter finds so annoying. Imagine you are deaf, but every night you hear the most beautiful music in your dreams, and your every waking thought is consumed trying to reproduce that music. Oh, you're mute as well in this
Oh, hang
analogy,
on.
or at least you can't sing. And you need to invent the idea of a musical instrument from scratch.
1 moment.
Everyone else is also deaf and mute. And,
Yes, I think I get it.
yes, well, the point is, most of us are trying so desperately to recreate our own dream symphony that we bring an awful lot of our own baggage into the mix.
What about the monsters?
My camera is dying. Okay. Should be good. Do you blame him? Yeah, I mean, he does have a pretty nice voice, I can't lie. Let's go back a few seconds.
In your dreams. And your every waking thought is consumed by that music. Oh, you're mute as well in this analogy, or at least you can't sing. And you need to invent the idea of a musical instrument from scratch. Everyone else is also deaf and mute. And,
Yes, I think I get it.
yes, well, the point is, most of us are trying so desperately to recreate our own dream symphony that we bring an awful lot of our own baggage into the mix.
What about the monsters?
What monsters?
Distortion. I thought they were part of the entities themselves, like extensions. Surely they know what's going on.
Honestly, I think they have it a lot worse than we do. Imagine being a hand that can conceive of itself, having impulses shot through you, being moved and clenched by some unseen mind.
That would be
Never knowing the
horrifying.
reasoning behind your own actions, or even if you're just some thoughtless reflex. Ugh. Sounds horrid.
So if no one's ever actually communicated with their patron, how do you know they even want rituals? How does anyone know if they could ever even work?
We don't. And honestly, the idea that this is all some grand cosmic joke, thousands of us running around spreading horror and sabotaging each other pointlessly while these impossible, unknowable things just lurk out there, feeding off the misery we cause, I find that interpretation quite appealing.
Bet you do.
But
I still hear the music in my dreams.
who are you? No. Who were you?
Originally, no one you would have heard of, no great historical figure or atrocity monger.
Mm-hmm.
I've been Simon Fairchild about 80 or 90 years, maybe.
Oh, damn.
For business purposes, mainly. By which I mean I was bored of not being wealthy, so I made some arrangements and sent Mr. Fairchild on a very long fall. I could go into details, but without a certain amount of knowledge of 1930s tax practices, it wouldn't mean very much to you.
And how did you get started with it all?
Man literally said, I didn't want to be poor, so I killed someone and stole his identity.
Did you just look up at the sky one day and fall head over heels in love?
Sort of, actually. Except it wasn't the actual sky, it was a painting. I was apprenticed, you see, under Tintoretto. Dreadful man, but a decent artist. He was fascinated, you see, with the human figure. He found most of the rest of the work dreadfully dull, so he'd always delegate a lot of it to us. He had a particular distaste for painting the sky, and I was always the one he called on to do them. Days,
Hell yeah, eat
weeks
the
on end,
rich.
so intently on these patches of clear sky or swirling cloud at the top of his latest self-proclaimed masterpiece. And gradually it sort of drew me in, until it seemed to dwarf the rest of the work. Every stroke of the brush felt larger than my entire existence. And when I finally lost my footing, well, I should, of course, have fallen to the floor of the church, broken my neck, but that blue painted sky welcomed me with open arms. And I never looked back. I tried to share it with others, not just as sacrifices, but they often find it difficult to keep up with the
Hang on, I just want to read that. I would spend days, weeks, I would spend focusing so intently on swirling patches, on these patches of clear sky or swirling cloud at the top of his latest self-proclaimed... Who? Tintoretto. Didn't he paint a lot of ceilings? Wasn't that his thing? Let me look it up. I like context. I'm one of those nerds. Tintoretto. Yes. Let's see, what else has he done? Did he do any? Did he do any ceiling work, actually? I'm trying to find it. He did a lot of canvas. Very good. And you know what? I'm seeing the sky. I'm seeing the sky in them. There is sky. If I was constantly drawing the sky as some dude's apprentice, I'd fall in love with it too. You know what? That is so valid. Love it when I and real people never know who it's going to be. Next thing you know, Marie Curie's an end avatar or something. I mean, yeah, it would fucking track. Did he do? Let's see. Tintoretto. No, not clothing. Ceiling art. Oh yes, no, he did. He did a fair few ceilings. Quite good ones too. All right. Tintoretto. All right, I've got my context. He'd found most of it generally dull, delegated to us. Very fair. And gradually it sort of drew me in until it seemed to dwarf the rest of the work. Every stroke of the brush felt larger than my entire existence. And then, when I finally lost my footing, well, I should have, of course, fallen to the floor of the church and broken my neck, but that blue-painted sky welcomed me with open arms. And I never looked back. Tried to share it with others, not just as sacrifices, but they often find it difficult to keep up with the velocity I tend to live at. I see. So he was painting a ceiling. I wonder which ceiling. Let's see if we can try and figure it out. Maybe something like this. Sorry that it's backwards. It says Atrium Square, Doge's Palace in Venice, Tintoretto, Venorissa. Anyway.
Velocity I tend to live at. I tend to get left behind, and I suppose it doesn't help that I can't bring myself.
Do you think the other apprentices were like, yo, did that guy just fall into the sky through the ceiling? Yeah, they were probably all absolutely traumatized because he just defied all the laws of physics. And they were like, where did he go? How would that have... The sky ate him? Like, how would that work? Would it be like he started to fall and then just... You know, or did the ceiling just kind of, I don't know. Best not to ask too many questions, probably.
See any of them as anything other than trivial. No wonder I'm so sympathetic to the lonely. You know, this really is a place for self-discovery, isn't it? Statement ends, I suppose.
I'm sorry?
Oh, nothing, just my own hubris. I should have known. When I came here, I said to myself, Simon, I said, you're going to answer this young man's questions, but you're not going to give the watcher a statement. You're better than that. But it's a hard one to resist, isn't it? You get in the flow of talking about yourself, and it all tumbles out.
It's a narcissist's worst nightmare.
It has been fun. Now, if we're about done...
We're not.
Woo!
Sit back down.
Fucking get him, Martin! We're not. Sit back down. Okay. Goddamn. Fast, my beloved, I'll never understand you, yet I sort of do. Sheesh. I need to hear that again.
Well, this has been fun. Now, if we're about done...
We're not. Sit back down.
Oh. I like it.
You said you were here to answer my questions for Peter, but so far you've told me basically nothing of any use.
He really has. Isolating himself truly has done him wonders. Ugh. I feel like there's something stuck in my septum, sorry. Okay, we're all good. Yeah, he's developed a spine. Not having anyone to talk to has just made him an absolute beast.
The big
Not sure. No, probably not.
answers are rarely helpful.
Then let's try some smaller ones. Is Peter attempting a ritual?
Not in the sense that you're used to. Him and his family made their play a few years ago and they failed. I'm sure he'd like me to explain it, but I think he can do that one himself.
I think he always had it, but just hidden as to not upset others. But now it's like, who gives a fuck? Yeah. I think because he used to have a spine when defending John. That was like the few times when he would really just be like, and now he's like, no, I'm going to defend myself because no one gives a shit. I call bullshit. I avoid people all the time, and I've never talked as confidently as Martin. Yeah, maybe it's just the Martin charm. Who knows?
How honest has he been with me?
About which part?
Protecting the others.
I think he tried. I suspect he may have slightly exaggerated his abilities when you first made the deal, but he certainly expended a reasonable amount of influence and resources to follow through.
But that was never the end game, was it? He just wanted me on side long enough to rope me into his plans for the extinction.
Do you really need me to answer that one?
Fine. So why me? What's his plan? Why not get the others involved?
He is what he is, Martin. For a creature of the lonely, the urge is always to isolate, never to communicate or connect. I suspect that's why he's so keen on wagers. It allows him a framework for cooperation that doesn't risk any sort of intimacy. As for his plan, I don't know the details, but I believe there's something in the Institute that he thinks can help his cause.
And he needs me to use it.
Presumably, from what he said, it must be powerfully aligned to the Watcher. If he wishes to use it, it would need someone already touched by the eye. And if he wants to control that someone,
They need to serve the lonely.
quite right.
Oh, no.
Anything else?
How do you feel about this?
You might need to be a tad more specific.
All of it. Peter's plan, the extinction, me.
I think Peter is taking a rather large but calculated gamble. Not just on you, but on a lot of things. If it works, he'll be in a very strong position. And if he fails, it won't be all that bad.
You don't think it'll be the end of the world?
Oh, it very well might be, but life has continued through dozens of apocalypses already.
This is true.
Ice ages, pandemics, calamities, extinctions. The only reason this one feels special.
You know what's so ironic about that is the fact that literally the next year we had a fucking pandemic. John out here predicting the fucking future.
is because, well, it's happening to you. And that's the sort of solipsism that tends to come with loneliness, in my experience. So, my feeling is that I'll help out where I can. But ultimately, if this Armageddon comes off, then so be it. Either billions suffer and life goes on, or billions suffer and life doesn't.
That's
In the
a
grand
good
scheme of
point.
things, it's all much of a muchness.
Right.
Sorry,
Mm.
too big picture? I get that a lot.
No, it's... Thank you. This has actually been quite helpful.
I'd say any time, but honestly, if you see me again, I may just throw you off something for a joke.
Oh,
How do you feel about roller coasters?
Neutral.
Oh, you're no fun.
the pandemic is just an invention by Johnny Sims to sell more podcasts. Yes, I imagine so. Sorry, I got distracted picking my ear.
Who was that?
Oh.
Basira, please, I don't have time
Oh, no,
for
you
this.
don't.
Basira, let go.
Oh,
I don't think so. 3 weeks I've been waiting to catch sight of you, and now I find you chatting with Simon Fairchild. No, you're not pulling your little vanishing act on me.
How did you know about
Yeah, John's not the only one who listens to statements.
It's none of your business.
No? Because it seems to me like you're panning around with two very dangerous people right around the time you're cutting all of us out. That makes me worried. Makes me suspicious. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
So what's going on then? Talk to me.
It's complicated.
why the fuck
What?
would he talk
They're
to
just
you?
here out of the goodness of their hearts, helping you save the world from extinction.
You know about that?
Yeah, John found the tapes you made for him.
Shh, shh, shh.
Found a stash of them a while ago. I made sure he's shared with the class.
Well, there you go then.
Maybe going through a whole we have to trust Martin thing, but I'm not. As far as I can see, you're either compromised or you're...
Yeah, well, Basira, you don't fucking trust anyone. So to be honest, your trust is really like you not trusting someone is old bloody news. And honestly, I don't think I'd want you to trust me because I would be questioning my morality as an individual if I was someone you felt could be trusted. Like, I don't want you to trust me because I don't want to be the person that you put your trust in. Mm-mm.
being played, and I want to know which.
I didn't know John had listened to them already.
Well, he has. He seems to think you'll come to him when you need him. I think you're feeding him what he needs to hear so he doesn't
Thank you,
bother
Mary.
Look, I don't have time for this. I don't like that I have to work with Peter any more than you do, and I didn't know that Simon was involved until today. But I would hope that you and John understood the importance of preventing an apocalypse.
I guess I'm just a bit burned out on the end of the world.
Yeah, well, that's your problem.
If you really think this whole extinction thing is it, why not come
Sounds like a you problem, bitch.
to us for help?
I can't. Peter's the one with the plan, and it needs me to be alone.
And you don't see anything suspicious about that?
Of course I do, but it might be the only way, and so far, at least, he's been honest with me. Awful, but honest. I need to do this. For everyone.
Oh, Martin.
You're not expecting to come out of this, are you?
I'll do what I have to. If I'm right, no one else needs to get hurt.
Okay. You want to do whatever grand sacrifice you think is going to save everyone? Go ahead. But you'd best be sure you're not just playing their game.
I know what I'm doing.
We'll see. Don't make me regret this.
Don't tell John.
She wouldn't anyway.
Please.
Fine. I can't promise he won't just know it, though.
How is he?
Hungry. But he's keeping it together.
That's good. Can I go now?
Sure.
L plus ratio plus you serve the ceaseless watcher plus murderer plus hypocrite. At least he actually acknowledged the fact that he is starving himself and keeping it together. Got to go now, sadly, but it was fun getting to hear Simon Fairchild's silly voice with you guys. Have fun with the rest of the stream. All right, bye. Bye, Marie. I hope you have a good rest of your day. And I'm sure I'll catch you soon. Honestly, I was very scared for this episode, but it was okay. It was manageable. I think. We're not done yet. Now we're done. Okay, so I was terrified for this one because I was like, everyone was like, "Oh my god, episode 4, you know, like everyone was freaking me out, man." But it was like a lore drop. It's like it's like the one where we had Jürgen Leitner. And we had a big lore drop. Or the one with give me a second. Go in. There we go. Or the one with Jerry. You know, big lore drop. No, we all just love Simon. I see. I've been duped by my friends. This was simply a campaign. I see. I mean, I always knew Jürgen Leitner, stupid idiot mother, I am shot in the head. Oh. 140. Okay. Next one would be, how about then for the next stream we do 3, and I'll try to not waffle so much so it's not as long, and I'll start earlier. And that way we can watch 152, 153, 154. Unless 154 is a terrible one to finish with, in which case we'll stick to the usual 2s. I think that's in favor of a 3-1. So we'll do that. It'll be fun. My nail just bloody broke. You can't see it, but it's not good. There we go. But yeah, no, I remember hearing on some ads him being like, "Hi, this is Dada, the voice of Simon Fairchild." And I completely forgot what he sounded like until he was like, "I'm Simon Fairchild." And I went, "Oh my God, fucking hello, Mr. Dropbox. Jesus Christ, hi." I love Martin developing a spine. Basira, I have very many mixed feelings about Basira, but you know what? It's the game, isn't it? I guess they're all in a very shitty situation. She's just trying to survive, and she just doesn't take any bullshit. But now neither is Martin. Apparently, Martin is really something right now. Oh God. I got myself all hyped up because I was so worried about what 151 was going to be. I was sat here thinking, oh, Jesus, this is going to be one of those like 8-hour-long streams because it's going to be a cliffhanger. I'm going to be like, well, we have to listen to the next one. And now I'm like, I don't know what to do with all this energy. Basira is yeah, she really is. Because it's like, I do get some of where she's coming from. At the same time, she's kind of an arsehole. And I'm really struggling with it because it's like, I don't know. It's hard. It's just hard. It is a hard one. But you know what? Maybe her character will develop like Daisy's did. And that'll be fun. Because I liked her at the beginning because she was kind of like, I don't know. She wasn't mean to John, but she was kind of like, we're not friends, but I don't hate you. And was just kind of takes no shit. And I was like, you know what? I can appreciate that. And then she just kind of became a let's all hate John campaign. And I was like, oh, whoa. Keep my man's name out of your fucking mouth, bro. What the fuck? Chill out. God damn. But maybe she'll change. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, we've met Simon Fairchild. I'm guessing he doesn't. Does he come back? Is he like Jerry, where it's like we hear him one time? I will say I never outright like Basira, but she's a lot more bearable in season 5. All right, that's good to know, because I hate it when characters. I hate it when you genuinely just don't like a character and you're like, oh my god, please get off the screen. Because even in this, like the bad guys, when they're on, I'm like, oh, you know, I really like that they're there. But when you don't like a character, it's like you just don't even want them to be there. It's like, I don't even care if you're a good guy. Please just go. Like, I don't want to hear you. It's like that the second autistic person they introduced to the Good Doctor. I've not watched the series in full, but all the clips that I've seen of her, she's just breaking the rules, being annoying, irritating Sean, and just making a mess of things. And it's like she's just annoying. Like, you just don't want her there because she just sucks. I hate it when you have characters like that in a thing, because it's like you don't want to just not want a character to exist outright, because that's not really, it's not a testament to their ability to act. It's more just a testament to how their character's been written. And if a character's written in an annoying way, then it's like, just go away. I don't want you here, you know? But yeah. All right. Sorry, I've got, but this nail is breaking and it's just being the worst. You can't really see it, but it's just all raggedy and shitty. All right, well, this has been fun. I'm hoping to be starting my PhD in full swing very soon. So, but I'm also going to have a good balance because I'm only going part-time. So I should be streaming relatively soonish. I miss the days when I used to stream like multiple times in the same day. That was a wild time. No one used to watch live back then, but I was honestly just live all the time. I'd be like, I'm watching another 2 episodes. But yeah, so next stream we'll watch 3. We'll listen to 3. And that way we get 154, which everyone is very excited for. And is this time, like when I started the stream, was that like a good time for most of you, or was that like it's kind of late, you know? Because I mean, I started relatively late. I started at like 6. So I don't know if that means good or bad, Justin. Do it again if it's a good time. All right, cool. Thank you, Justin. It's fine for me, but most times are. All right, that's good to know. It's just because obviously if most of you were like on the other side of the planet and it was like, actually it's like 5 a.m. for me and you woke me up, then I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I might start a little earlier so that Marie doesn't like have to leave. So maybe aim for like 5, maybe. Oh, that's fair. That works perfectly then. Exactly the same time zone. Yeah, because either I do them quite late at night or I do them kind of afternoon, evening, and then it really depends on how long I go for. I think the one that ended up being the longest without meaning to was actually the end of season 1. That was I remember I just had like my presentation and I was like, so I'm going to reward myself by listening to as much TMA as I like. And then fucking what's her name, Jane Prentice attacked, and I was losing my fucking mind. I was screaming. I'm surprised no one knocked on my door to tell me to shut the fuck up. I pushed my neighbors to the limit. I can be a lot louder without causing a disturbance than I realized, because no one told me to shut up, which is nice. But yeah, I remember I started during the light, and by the end it was dark as hell, because I'd listened to like, I don't know, like 5 episodes or some shit. That was long, but it was fun. Oh, and there was the time we were listening to the end of season 3 and Lon was here, and we were just sat on the floor holding hands in fear, and I was sweating profusely. Also, random thing, really like the Ceaseless Watcher you have in the... Oh, well, thank you. It's a diamond painting. It's the first one I ever did. I kind of wish it was bigger, because it feels a bit small for the space that it's in, but I may move it somewhere else and put something else there. But thank you. I quite like eyes. I think eyes, I have a weird fixation with eyes, probably because I refuse to look people in the eye. And so this is the only way I get eye contact. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna head off. I need to make food and then do my exercise and shower. But I will post when I'm next going to stream, or at least give a little bit of forewarning. Because that seemed to work quite well this time. So I'll do that. And maybe if we're lucky, we'll have the whole gang. We'll have Levant as well, and then we'll have a full house. Levant, if you're watching this and you're still here, which hopefully you are, I wouldn't be surprised if you weren't though, but if you is the time when I streamed this a good time, or would earlier/later be better? Let me know. But yeah, I think I'm gonna head off. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I love it when you guys show up and we have like proper conversations and shit. It's real fun. And I hope you enjoyed, and have a good rest of your days. And I will see you guys later. So yeah, thanks guys. I will see you when I see you. Doodles. See you next stream.